It's rewind time.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
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 Alright, what up everyone? Welcome to another stream. So this time I need to check out Fortnite. There's a freaking update happening yesterday, but I couldn't play yesterday. And yeah, I need to freaking play this. Also guys, thanks to freaking for all the hosts and all the sparks. You're legit freaking amazing. Oh, what up, Dream? How you doing, bro? Welcome to freaking stream. But before I do that, I kinda wanna oh wow, Dream, thank you for a host. I kinda wanna go and get a new wallpaper because I have the same one for like, I don't know, 100 million years now. So yeah. Also, what up DLive, what up YouTube, what up Facebook, what up Twitter? How you guys doing? Welcome to the freaking stream. Alright, let me check something real quick. Is it live? I'm actually checking on Streamcraft if it's live. Oh dude, finally Streamcraft is actually live. That's first time in forever. Whatever. That worked out, I guess. Oh dude, I like this one. This is actually a pretty cool one. Alright. Let's see. Yep, I want it. It doesn't have any pink, so it's perfect. There you go. Let's see how it looks. Oh dude, that's pretty freaking legit. Love it. Alright, so let's log into Fortnite. Let's freaking do this. Also, big shout out to freaking Microsoft and Xbox because they gave me $5 freaking just for the memes, and I was able to get freaking skin, well not skin, the wrap that I wanted from Fortnite. So pretty happy about that. Dude, they legit just gave me $5 freaking. They gave me $5 as well. Nice, Twin. Nice. Did you got the same they call it what, the pineapple wrap thingy? I wanted the pineapple thingy. I just couldn't buy it myself, and then they give me like $5 freaking. I'm like, yay! It was like $4.99 or something, so I was like pretty freaking happy. Alright, please load. There's going to be like cinematics and stuff, I hope. So that would be legit for the most part. Alright, let's see. I also need to go to the thing. You were in the tournament? Seriously? Ah, nice, dude. I'm too much of a bot to even attempt to do that. Like, I just do it for the memes, you know? And it's fun to do for the memes, so no need to go full try hard. Wait, how do I see your name? Tuffy? Tuffies? Tuffies, thanks very much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Alright, so I'm going to go real quick on freaking, what's it called? Cellular World. So I can, I said it right, bet. What up? See, I can read. I can actually read a little bit. Okay, I'm fine. Alright, so I'm going to go into the world, get my rewards. I don't think I get V-Bucks yet, but that's... And I want to see the new wrap that I got. So I want to see if it was worth it. I mean, it was free, but still, I want to see if it was worth it. It's like, you look right. Alright, come on. You can do this. I believe in you. Right, is the stream glitching a bit? The background thing is glitching. Selfies, thanks so freaking much for the host, bro. Really appreciate test limits, what? Race through different checkpoints. Oh, I remember that one. Sure shot. Road Rider returns to the event story. No. The Ballard? What? Wait, I can actually buy it? Whoa. Hello? Fortnite? Hello? Alright, does anyone know what just happened? Press B. Okay. I'm like, what just happened? Okay, I was supposed to go to the freaking story here. Can I buy it? Yes, I can. Yeah, no. It's a surprise? Bringing it's a surprise. Do I mean like a cinematic or something? I'm not sure. Alright, got the thing. Need to do my upgrades. How many dailies do I have? Oh! V-Bucks. Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing twine. Husks. For paintings and soldier and... Oh, I could do both. That. I could be like a soldier with like the thing. Bet. That's 100 V-Bucks real quick. But we're gonna go into that. Wait, so how do I use post? It didn't do anything. That was weird. That was really weird. I don't like it. Alright, let's go BBR. Dude, the Avengers stuff. I'm going to be playing that a lot. Alright, let's go. This might be fun. Oh, wait. I was... Whoa. Alright, endgame. Join the battle, Infinity Stones, Fires, Diamonds, or Real Avengers in-game items. Fair enough. Black Widow set. And get the jet. Complete Marvel's Avengers in-game challenges to earn the free rewards, including surprise banners and the Avengers jet glider. That is legit, dude. Yo, what up, Spook? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. I say when you stream Minecraft you couldn't watch because you were in school? Oh, big oof. Watch the clip. Oh my god, Bob. You in the clips. You on the clips, dude. Okay, one sec. There's the thing that's not... Alright. Alright, can I just disable that for now? Because it glitched. I don't like when it glitched. Alright. Wait, mistakes were made. We apologize for your missed rewards. What? What? What missed rewards? No, seriously, what missed rewards? They had a glitch again, and they just gave out freaking free everything to everyone. Alright. It's legendary, I bet. I have way more challenges. Hi, Bob. Hi, Spoke. God dang it. Hi, Knife. Oh my god. I bet. Well, guys, party's open, so if you want, just jump freaking in. We're doing endgame, by the way. So, let's do this. Mighty party, dude, the party's open. Just jump in, Tim. Alright, well, let's do this. Ready up. What, do we need to invite to the party? Alright. Nice. Invite to party. Bob just left, of course. I think he wants to stream snipe me more than anything, so it's kind of bad. What do you mean? I need to do my challenges. I need to do a lot of challenges right now. Dude, week 7, week 8, and week 9. I need to catch up. I legit need to catch up. Alright, let's do this. I need to check the in-game challenges. One sec. Okay, so deal 1000 damage with Iron Man. Collect Infinite Stones. Play matches. Alright, bet. That should be easy. Oh my lord. Now Ghost is here. If he doesn't carry me, I swear it's just stream. You have max hybrid, of course you do. I prefer Marshmallow. Oh my lord. I bet. I'm just going to do conga. Dude, I want to do a conga with freaking what's it called? Thanos. Like, I just want to do a freaking conga with him. Like, for real. Spoke, thank you for the host. Do you accept embers? No, I do not, because I'm not a partner. What are you doing? We're super epic music and all, bro. Epic music and all. I love it. I love this thing. Thanos, yeah, bro. I bet. Let's go tilt it. I don't know where my treasure is. I don't see it from this height. Where is it though? I bet. Why are we here? I thought we were going tilted. Yes. What? Oh, I found my chest. I found my chest. Alright, don't kill the memer. Don't kill the memer. Please don't kill the memer. Ah, I found my freaking Avengers chest. Let's go. Nobody builds in this game? What do you mean? Oh, dude, I got a hammer! What do you mean? Thing ass. Oh, dude, this is amazing. I just did. Extra. Oh, bad. Dude, I can destroy everything. I love it. Wait, what do I need to do? Inner leap to target. Oh, so I need to jump? Alright, that's normal attack. That's bad. Oh man! I love it, just like the sword. It's like the sword attack, but like better because you can throw it. Bad. Wait, can you get mats by destroying? Dude, you get mats by destroying stuff with it. It's like instant. I spoke. Wait, Spoke, are you Iron Man or something? Oh my lord. No, you have hammer. Well, I need the freaking, the Iron Man stuff. I know, but I need more chests. I think I found more chests. Never mind, I'm lava. The soul stone is on his way. Bro, we need to collect the stones. Oh, great. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Oh, I bet. Oh, I just got hurt. Someone just attacked me. What the frick? What? Okay, I'm slightly confused. Oh my lord. So who attacked me? What the frick? Dude, what do you mean I have 300 health? Like for real, 300 health? Come on, Fortnite. Yeah, let's salute to try hard. Why would they add to Hulk? What up, Twin? Professor Hulk? Oh my lord. I don't think that works. Oh, dude, enemies! I got it! Let's go! Of course I had to dance. Dude, I'm a memer. What do you expect from me? I love the earth. What? Got... Maybe... I don't... Dude, the freaking Thanos dude is here. Can you play thoroughly, hum? All you need to do, look up my gamer tag on Epic, click that join button, until the squad, and you jump in. Alright, dude, the Thanos dude is over here. Oh my lord. We should kill this dude, we should kill this dude. For the memes. Actually, for the win. Yes. We should totally kill Ghost right now. Because he's a terrible friend. He's also pink, so that explains everything. Bad! No, my kill! Not you. Bad. That worked. Kill damage to dude, that works out. You can't join, that's because it's full right now. Do you need to wait until I leave the squad? Nope. Yes, you should be very sad. You should be very sad. I'm protecting this thing. I'm protecting it by dancing on it. Actually, I'll do conga around it. Oh, really? It looks so pretty though. I feel like I'm the only one doing conga here right now. Of course. The party, Train, you'll have to wait and just send me a text message and I'll invite you once we're not here. Ah, someone's coming, someone's coming. Alright, that's the other song. Okay. Alright. And we still have to deal with the storm, because, yeah. You have my backpack? What do you mean you have my backpack? Let's go. Oh, big oof. Thanos is back, dude. We need to kill him. Ghost, where are you dying? I mean, Knife is almost dead as well. You stole my backpack. What do you mean? Someone just attacked me? Frick, that's rude, dude. What? The knife just died. Ow, 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 ow. Ah, dang. I potato that one. The merch? Oh. Wait, did you actually buy the backpack? That's a cool looking freaking backpack. Where's your Iron Man? Give me the Iron Man thing so I can use it. It's a challenge. It's a challenge! No, I do not. You did. Oh, bad. Good buster into it. Awesome. Ghost, stop eating a potato. I kind of potato that one, not gonna lie. I killed it, dude. Respawning is off. What do you mean? No. We lost 2. I got potato. Oh my lord. I'm sorry. That was. Spoke is left. Spoke is the only one he's about to die, dude. You can do this, Spoke. You can legit do this. Never mind, Spoke's dead. Spoke died. What do you mean? I don't know. What are you doing on Instagram? You should be on freaking TikTok instead. Oh, but oh god. I mean, the source of meme is TikTok, so I don't know what you're complaining about. Oh my lord. Hi, thank you so freaking much for that host. Really appreciate it. Dude, that's actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. That's not cool. And then she looks strange. I'm like, she looks strange. I don't want this thing. Oh wait, my SupportACreator code thingy expired. Well, guys, if you didn't know, I have a SupportACreator code and you can use it right now to get some fun stuff. I'm going to do. I want that thing. There. Now I want this one. This is actually pretty freaking cool. Do you have a big? Oh my lord. You have it already? There. Why you haven't done it? That worked. Now let me check the rep real quick. I'm going to use it on AR. Oh, 1 sec. Dude, it's actually worth it. It was actually worth it. One sec, I'm changing pretty much everything. Alright, bet, that works. Alright, let's do this again. I don't like the outfit. Deal damage while hovering with Iron Man. I need to do that. Collecting feeding stones. I haven't done any. I was a good guy, not the bad one. So, big oath. Wait, what? I haven't seen him release it though. Look up Danny0117 on Spotify. You will just find the music that plays on my stream. I like other stuff as well, but like yeah. Come on, we need to do it for the memes. We need to find stones and all the fun stuff. Yeah, you should probably listen to Going Random. Going Random's like my favorite one. I'm going Volcano. Usually I just need to go for kills. Can I do other challenges while I'm in here? Simple. Week 8. Kill someone with a balloon. Can't do that one. Eliminate people at Dusty. I'm killing people at Dusty now. That thing where you were dancing around was for a challenge. You have to take out your pickaxe and search for this. Really? I don't remember that. Well, I can fly. Let's go. It's legit. I just need to get kills right here. Blake, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. What? I bet. That's pretty legit. No. I see you, knife. Where's the Mindstone? Oh, it's from Volcano. I didn't actually get to Volcano. Can't destroy the treasure thing. That's a big oof. Mindstone has been captured. Fair enough. Let's go. What's my epic? The bot just dropped my epic in chat, so if you want you can add me there. You can also add me as your SupportACreator if you want. It's not an enemy? No, that's a friendly. Dinosaur right here. Wait, is there full damage in this thing? Like if I go up, will I die? I'm like, maybe. There's no fall damage? Are you serious? Alright, let me try it. There's no fall damage. There's no fall damage, dude. Let's go. Yeah, I'm here on epic. Alright, bet. Got you. Alright, bro. On the next one, if you want, just jump in from epic and we can play this thing. I need... Why did it enable freaking party assist on this thing? Like, for real. Someone just destroyed the entire Dusty. What do you mean? Status is just breaking everything, dude. Are we focusing on kills right now? The time stone has been collected. Dude, I need to collect this stone. Either that, I'll need to let you guys do it. Yes, yes I will. I will have to enable that on the next one. Okay, I don't care. They have to add this to like the actual game. Like, for real. Dude, Dusty's gone. Got one, let's go. There's nothing left of Dusty. Alright, there's some areas of Dusty. There. Everything's gone. No more buildings at Dusty, dude. No more buildings at Dusty. All clear up. Let's go. I think it's still part of the freaking thing. That one you can join. On the next one, dropping the split, so just jump in on the next one. Remember, I play. Ouch! I play twice with each squad. Oh, I see them. I see them. Don't go away from Dusty. What do you mean? Frick. Yep, that happens. By the way, Blake, do you play on Xbox? Do you play on PlayStation, computer? Like, where do you play? There's still parts of Dusty, dude. Oh, no. Bro, can you stay near Dusty, question mark? Thank you. What? I got double team. Oh, what? I was just asking so you can jump into the party once I invite you, because if you are on PlayStation or mobile or something, unless you have the Xbox app on your phone, you can't really jump into the party. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Easy kills, dude. Easy kills. What do you mean? It was an easy kill. What? I got killed by a shield. Big oof. Oh my god, Ghost. What? Spoke! That was my kill! Ow. I think I have to tail that one. You're texting me. Oh my lord. You need to I don't know why you can't just jump into the party, dude. Ghost, just stop. I know I'm saying Bella, but I also need to stop. Let's get rid of Dusty, completely. As much as we can. Everything has to be gone. Let's go. I'm at 15 health. Why am I at 15 health? Alright, that worked out. Alright, back to tryhard mode. No one else is here. What the frick? Is it? I mean, just dumb potato it. Why? Making sure no one builds stuff, Dusty. Oh, dude, one of this things is here. Oh no, that's our boss, I think. Ah, there's no one here, dude. Do I have hype? Yes, yes I do. It's there somewhere. Wait. I don't know, but I also need to focus on like other challenges, so yeah. Oh wow, Spoke died. Why is Spoke not respawning though? Oh, there we go. Perfect. There's no one here, dude. What? Bad! Bad! Why? Oh my lord. Dude, freaking stream snipers are killing me now. Ghost, you should defend me. You should totally cover me. Like, I don't mind stream snipers at all. But like, if you kill me as a stream sniper, that's... yeah, it's kind of bad. Oh my lord. It still like kills at Dusty. That's the problem. No! Knife! No! Knife! Why? Knife! Knife is a terrible person. Knife is a terrible person. I legit need to enable the party assisting. Ouch! Ouch! Why are you bullying me? Well, I don't like you, Ghost. I mean, Knife. You stole it. Dude, I want this gun, like, to be permanent on freaking Fortnite. I want to try the Iron Man one. Balance restored? What? What do you mean? Oh my lord. Oh my god. Ghost, why you do this? Just why? Oh my lord. Why do you want me to go for Seal servers? That would be super laggy. We could just stream snipe your enemies. Oh, dude, it would be amazing if you're like stream sniping me and you end up on the enemy team. That would be amazing. I can actually kill you guys. Alright, thanks so very much for playing. If you want to play again, please wait one more. What is it? Okay, let's see. Play one more and let's freaking do this. Alright, so if anyone wants to play, go to my profile, click for the join button, and let's freaking do this. On that note, I'm checking challenges real quick. Deal damage. Oh, zipline. Okay. I need to do zipline damage. That's not going to work out for me. Yo, what up? Knight, how you doing? How's life around DLive? Let's see. Right at Loot Lake. Search chest at Polar Peak and Lonely. Right 3 from Volcano Bends. Without landing. Oh, that's easy. Dance between 3 ice sculptures. I know where that is. Eliminate a teammate. Wait, what? Oh, revive a teammate, not eliminate. What the? Alright. Eliminate opponents in different matches. Okay, that works. Alright, week 9 is easy. The only one that I'm still stuck on is this one. Yeah, 1 sec. Okay, what are you listening to do? Alright, using a balloon. I need to do that on normal. Kill people at Dusty. Alright, bad. Okay, I'm going to enable party assist on this because I might not get it. So, anyway. Alright. Alright, Blake, let me actually, wait, I already have it. What am I doing? I don't know. Invite to party. Here, and he's actually my turn because, no one. Invite to party, let's go. Alright, let's do this. Oh yeah, stream snipers, forgot about you guys. Alright, turn, Blake, ready up guys? For everyone else, if you want to stream snipe me, set your service turning east. We are doing endgame squats with no fail. Ready up in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Twin, by the way, Twin, why you can't jump into the party on your own? Like everyone in the party except for Blake jumping because means. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh wow. Oh, they're helping me with that, so anyway. Yeah, I might give some time. That's okay, dude. That's okay. I'm going to learn at freaking... Where are you to learn again? I need to learn a Loot Lake or something. Where do I need to learn? Yes, I need to go to Loot Lake, so let's go. You don't want to be... Oh my lord. Killer, thanks so freaking much for the host. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. We gotta go. Alright, night. See you later. Oh, a good one. Why am I pink? Why pink? Also, Night, thanks so freaking much for the follow on DLive. Really appreciate it, dude. I think I said it, but what up? Really? Oh my god. I mean, I'll say that Cursive has the... I say that freaking Cursive has the squeakier voice, but say whatever. I don't really care. I need to learn freaking Loot Lake, so... Hello, Loot Lake. I need a chest in here. Oh, I found my chest, kinda. Big oof. Where do you go, Twin? A crossbow. Dude, I don't need a crossbow. Okay, Ghost, you legit need to stop with the bet. Because that's the thing I need to stop saying. And you're not helping. There's a stone right next to me, dude. This dude is bullying me. Whatever. I know. Killed amateur opposing players who are riding a zip line. Volcano bends, sorry, but oh my god. There's 2 volcano bends in here, so let's go. I'm just doing challenges, by the way. So, I know, I'm doing it right now. Alright, do you actually need to be at the volcano? Because I just did it and it didn't count. That's a big of. Wow, train just died. Uh-huh. Oh, it counted. Alright. The enemy has captured its own big of. Wait, where's my... There it is. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Really? True, true. Oh my lord, thank you, Twin. I mean, technically Ghost is a follower, so... But he's the exception. I mean, I care a little bit about you, Ghost. Don't feel so bad. Okay, you know what, Ghost? You don't actually follow me, you kind of sort of stalk me a little. Like, yeah. Okay, get a better gun than this. Yeah, infinite ammo's legit. I just wish I had something else. Like this grapple version thing, it's pretty legit. This thing is terrible. Nope, I suck with that thing. Next time I just use a freaking shotgun, dude. I need to kill people like Dusty, so I actually need to start killing someone. What up? I only have the freaking crossbow thing, so I'm pretty potato right now. I mean, I'll take anything but this thing. Like, the only thing I'm legit using it for is the grapple. Whatever happened to... What do you mean? Not sure. Why you ask me such things? Wait, are you talking about Gucci? Because Gucci was here yesterday. Oh. Ding. I mean, Ding is not on the streams anymore. He kind of just plays with me. Oh, hi. Wait. You got that thing. Alright, let me get this thing real quick. It's like over here. Oh my lord. It's like all the way there. Oh, my thing's here. One sec, I'm making sure that... The hammer, I bet. Is someone trying to kill me? Oh, nice one. Nope, I haven't. Nope. Because memes. What do you mean? I'm trying to do. There you go. I don't know. I mean, just because you're like 50 doesn't mean that you're all Ghost. What do you mean, recycle? What does that even mean? What do you mean? You know that Cursive is older than you, right? Like, fan-wise? Big oof. I'm a freaking bot. I know that. Okay, who? How? How are you even... Like... I'll argue with that. Ghost, how do you even found my stream? Like, for real? I'm actually curious about that. Like, how do you end up on my freaking stream? Unless you would think that invited you, or like, yeah. I'm getting triple team over here. That's totally fun. I feel bad. I need killed some Dusty. What do you mean? What is this thing? Seriously? I'm just going to make this thing like help me with the kills at Dusty. Respawn is off. No. Hi, knife. Bye, knife. What do you mean? Ouch! That hurt, that hurt. I died. And that's me now. Big of. Knife, what are you doing? I am. You're just camping there. You're just watching the fight from the comfort of your little hut. What the frick? Oh my lord. New totally, dude. Oh wow. He's just like, hi, what up? He's dead. Dude, that is legit a stream snipe right there. I feel that for Knife. He just got stream sniped. That happens, bro. That happens. Oh, Blake, watch out, dude. Watch out. You can do this. Oh, dude. Storm. You got this. We believe in you. Even though it's legit only you against 14 people. Oh my lord. How did that even happen? How are you the only one left from our team, dude? That doesn't even make sense. Fresher, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. He's just camping the circle. He's just camping the circle. With 38 health. Never mind, 13 health. That's a big oof. It's a one. Wait. How did that happen? There were 13 people, now it's 14? What? Oh, big oof. Alright, back to menu. That's what happens. Okay, so I'm going to switch it to freaking the other one. Come on, Ghost. You can do better than first place. You can do no place. 100 V-Bucks, let's go. What up, bro? And Knife just left. Big oof. Uh-huh. Yep, I remember your cowboy account. Alright, guys, I have one spot open, so if anyone wants to play, go to my profile, click the join button, let's freaking do this. And I'm switching my things so we can get that thing completed. Deal damage? No. You're the real Marshmallow. What do you mean you're the real? Can you play totally fresher? I'm me on Epic, or just look up my gamer tag on Epic, click the join button, and you're more than welcome to be here. Oh my, why do you have music? It broke. Bro. Oh my god. Knife. I thought you... Knife is just bullying me. He's just legit bullying me. Waffles, thank you so freaking much for 20 freaking lemons. Really appreciate it. Oh my god, Twin. Alright, let me do this. Oh my he's legit bullying me right now. Add you, totally dude, I'm me right now and I'll add you up. Knife is just bullying me. Now he's going to do us. That's legit. Alright, bet. Alright, Bus is here. Why do I have music again? Alright, I think you're on Xbox? Yes, you are. Alright, 𝑪𝑶𝑫𝑬𝑨, let's go. You got the bunny hop. Dude, I wanted the bunny hop, but I didn't have, like, enough time to get the V-Bucks. So it feels bad, dude. Feels bad. Alright, let's do this. Did I what? I'm like, did I what? Oh no, I didn't. I didn't have enough V-Bucks and I didn't go to Save the World to get him, so I was like, I just let it go. I'll get it on the next one. If they ever bring it back. I'm pretty sure that they're going to bring it back on the next Easter or something. I don't know. I mean, they brought the skins back, so say whatever. Super impulses, what do you mean? Like the purple ones? Yeah, I think they're the shockwaves. And then the captain. I'm sorry, I forgot about stream snipers. Yo, what up, Hydra? How you doing? Scrubs the Gamer, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Why are you gonna see? Let's go, Twin. Let's go, bro. Alright, let's do this. You're sick. I'm also sick. Lana Lucky. I need to Lana Lucky. I'll be right back. I'm back. Have I been on ARK? No, I haven't touched ARK in like 2 days. Yesterday I was just doing, like, focusing a lot on the Minecraft skins I'm doing. And that's pretty much it. Like, I didn't really play much. Yes, I'm doing Minecraft skins. Oh, I went to Lucky. I mean, no. I mean, yesterday I did play Minecraft, but don't freaking judge me from my mistakes. They're past mistakes, so say whatever. Shut up, guys. We're not talking about that. Actually, I did take a shower, and then Cursive kind of pushed me to do this. So yeah, we haven't been on. I'm pretty sure that Cursive was on, but I'm not sure because he told me like you and him were like bored yesterday of ARK, so I haven't been on today. Wait, what do you need to do? Destroy what? Am I helping you with something? I'm like, am I helping you with something? It said destroy something. I don't know. Destroy cars, RBs, and stuff. I'll bet. That's another challenge. Let's freaking go. Why am I playing the newest Fortnite update? Oh, freaking endgame. Freaking Avengers power, dude. It's pretty legit. This is Fortnite, and Fortnite is amazing, dude. I'm actually still surprised of how they get to change the game so much, but yet it's still Fortnite. I mean, we're in the same team as Thanos, so I'm good. That didn't count as a car? What do you mean? Oh my god. You got banana, let's go. Did you actually play for the banana or did you buy it? Oh, on that note, once again, shout out to Xbox for sending me $5 gift card just for the memes. So, yeah. Yeah, Ghost, you're supposed to play. Thinking tire is not allowed, remember? Oh my lord. Why do I need to stop moving? I know, but like, I'm doing challenges. As usual. Wait, you are Thanos? What? When did you get the stone? Oh my lord, you stole it? That's not right, dude. Alright, another challenge then. Let's go. Don't I have a... I need the thing. Yes! Yes, I do! I mean, technically, if the storm gets me, it won't really matter. Because I just freaking spawn. That's actually better. What about the XP? What do you mean XP? Don't you get XP for dying as well? Like, a tiny bit of XP? Yo, Hydra, are you going to play with me or are you just going to judge me on stream? I mean, I'm at the storm right now. No! No! It's touching my butt! I don't like this thing. I don't like this thing. I have to vacuum the house. Oh, on the bright side, your house is kind of small. So, hurry up, question mark. I still need to get people killing Dusty, so I'm going to do that. Destroy trees. What do you mean? When did I have that challenge? When it tells me those things? Destroy rocks. What do you mean? Actually, not even building. I'm just destroying stuff. I don't know. I don't know where these challenges are coming from. Yo! Wait, are you Stream Sniper? Bro? Stream Sniper, don't... Yeah, he died. Oh my god. Yeah. Dude, that was a Stream Sniper. Not really. I mean... Why are you trying to kill me? That's not right. Oh my lord. I thought you liked me, Twin. I thought you liked me. Oh, I don't even know what challenges I'm doing, but I'm freaking doing challenges, so... Challenges, bro. Challenges. At least with this, it's actually super easy to do this, so... Yeah. Well, so how long are you going to take, Hydra, to vacuum your house? Did I just almost kill myself? Yes, I almost killed myself. I bet. I mean, you can legit just get one of the shirts if you want. Like, I think that you will be one of the people that will do, like, floss in real life, just for the memes. So you should probably get the floss one. 30 to 5? Ah, I bet. So almost an hour? Wow. Your house is kind of big. Big oof. Uh-oh. Storm. Storm. Move! Hi, Ghost. Alright, I'm done with trees. Now I need to destroy rocks. I mean, Twin, you're freaking Thanos. You should be able to kill things. Nice, a lot of rocks I need to destroy, dude. Alright, can you... Thank you. There's nothing. You're using your 4G data. Why are you using 4G? Are you in your house, Ghost? Or did your house just went potato? Hey! I can actually get one of the stones. That's legit. What do you mean? They're legit bullying me right now. I was going to get that one and then that dude just killed me. Maybe that's a stream sniper, I don't know. Almost got it. Almost. What do you mean? Oh my lord. Bro, I could pull your router? Oh, big oof, dude. You follow me on Streamcast. Thank you so freaking much for that. I mean, not Streamcast. Streamcraft. Wait, would this count as a kill at Dusty? No. It will count over here. I still need to destroy rocks. So, I'm only going to be fucking... Yo, damn it, too. What do you mean? Where are those things coming from? Okay, why are you bullying me? Why are you bullying me again? Ow! No! Bad stream sniper! Bad stream sniper! That still didn't count as Dusty kill. Big oof. Tell Knife you're sorry. Knife. Ghost is sorry because his dog ate the router, and so he lost Wi-Fi. Well, technically you could still freaking do this, but yeah. How to gamble? It's not gamble, it's spinning. Exclamation mark spin space number. Respawning is now off. I'm dead. Alright, there's somewhere right there. No, stream sniper. Bot stream sniper! God dang it. Oh, that happened. So that is a big oof. You can only spend the amount of points that you have, Ghost. So type rank in the chat and figure that one out. 3 people left. We're dead, dude. We're dead. Hydro? He's using 4G, but he's using mobile data. Pretty much what you used to do with your bad internet, but yeah, Ghost has that. Wait, Ghost, do you have unlimited data as well, or just like capped at something? Unlimited, bet. Blake is still in the game. Big oof. Alright, so that was round 2 of this squad. Guys, thanks so freaking much for playing. Actually, you know, there's first round for boss. Alright, let's do this. Oh. Rain just left. Alright, we have spot for what? Never mind. I can't even finish what I'm saying. Thank you, guys. Oh my god, the bunny hop. Alright, boss, ready up, bro. And let's freaking do this. Stream Snipes, send your service to an east. We are doing endgame squats with no fail. Boss is not ready up. That's a big oof. Boss, ready up? Question mark. Wait, Spook, are you in the party? Let me check. Who's in the party? Blake, Knife, Boss, and Spook. Yeah. All right. Stream Snipes, send your service to an east. We're doing endgame squats with no fail. Ready up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Also, still doing challenges, by the way. Yeah. Challenges. Okay, what am I doing? Why still 15 so wait. Can't even be. You join on mobile. Let's freaking go. Alright, on the next one you jump in, Ghost from mobile if you want. Yep, as long as you have me added as a friend on Epic, you can just jump in. Killer, if you want an invite, send me a friend request on Epic, and if you already have, just go to my profile and click the join button on the next one, and... Hello? Are you a stream sniper? Bad. Oh, we got a stream sniper here, that's legit. Alright, let's go now, let's go. Oh. Dang it, didn't work. Alright, do I need to land anywhere? I need to land at Salty, so I'm going Salty. I guess I can still do my challenges in here. I'm going to have to invite. Why do I need to invite? Like, just go to my profile and click join? Like, Ghost, you're my friend. I think on Epic as well. So, yeah. I bet. Now what? Polar and Lonely. Oh, big oof. People are fast and you have to have Fortnite open. True, true. I mean, Ghost, there's the thing called, data sharing. So, do you like a hotspot or something? And you can play on your console with your mobile data. Right? Like, you can make a Wi-Fi with that. That's how Hydra did it. That's how I do it. Wait, I need to destroy rocks. Why knife? Why? Oh, that's not a rock. Why knife? Don't leave knife. Because wait, I did watch them. What do you mean? You were no. I did say yes. Well, I didn't like watch them on stream, but I did. There's a llama. Why is there a llama in this game mode? Yep. Oh, that worked. Yeah, I saw the emote. And you wonder why I said that you have emote. Like, for real. True, true. I need to still kill opponents at Dusty, so let's freaking do that. No, Ghost, you're ninja. Actually, we are the bad version of ninja. It's like the tryhard version. I'm the ninja of the means. How's that? I'm running to freaking Dusty. Kinda. Wait, can I auto run? Can I auto run and fly at the same time? Oh my god, Ghost. Whoa! Yo, chill! What do you mean? Why are you bullying me? Yep, they're just bullying me. So much oof. Yes. Yes, I agree, Ghost. There is a lot of oof right there. I still need to go to freaking Dusty. Why do you keep spawning me all the way here? Like, for real. Ghost, what do you think of my building? Wait. There's some money here. Come on, dude. Let's destroy this entire house for the memes. I bet. We need to go. Bet. Why you want to play Fortnite? Did you just rage quit it? Why you have to rage quit? Like for real, why you have to rage quit? Wait, they updated the volcano. The volcano has that smoke going up. That's legit. It's kind of far away. I think the volcano is going to go boom soon or something. Oh. Still not sure why you need to store rocks. Yeah, knife? Yep, streaming from the computer. Streaming everywhere at the moment. I'm sorry, finish the game. Watch what? I'm like, watch what? I bet. I really do need to stop saying that. Getting annoying, even to me. Why needs a 2 GB update? What? What do you mean 2 GB update? Hello? Is it like out right now or something? Cause you were playing with me and memes. I don't get it. There shouldn't be an update right now, unless they send something on Twitter or fixing something on Xbox. I don't know. You haven't played Fortnite. Oh my god. I need to kill people at Dusty. Dang it. Why would the game hate me like this? Oh, I'm mobile. Oh, hi, knife. No, you, knife. No, just potato aim. Wait, why is the thing still there? Whoa, that lag, dude. I can't kill them here. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Love you too. I mean, I thought you said it was a potato. I thought you said it was a potato. Ow? Hello? Why are you moving? I keep believing. I am. Thank you. You gave me 1 like and 50 likes. Thank you so freaking much for the likes. I don't know what they do, but thanks so freaking much for all the likes. Thank you, Ghost. I don't like you, Ghost. Actually, you know what, Ghost? No, you. That's it. Okay, who and why? Okay. He got me with a shotgun, dude. He got me with a freaking shotgun. What do you mean? Oh, hi, Spoke. Alright, what am I thinking in fire? Dude just went away. Feels bad, dude. Feels bad. Are you a game? What? It's not like you're freaking... Wait, are you? Are you stream sniping me now, Ghost? Hits? What do you mean? Oh my god, 400 likes. Thanks so freaking much for that. I still don't know what you do, but thanks so freaking much for that. And now someone's Snapchatting me. Bet. Well, that was close. How? How did you... What? Oh, we're all dead again. Big oof. Check my snap. So that was you, huh? Yeah. I will. See more aimbot from you, Knife? Pretty sure it is. Alright, Blake, you can do this, bro. You can legit kill every single Avenger out there, which is only one. So I believe. Let's go. We won, dude. We won. Oh my god. I will. Alright, back to menu. You're a bit bot. Dude, what do you mean? I'm the bot. I'm the bot in here. Also, I'm just pretty much doing challenges at the moment, so don't forget. Good again? Yeah. But, oh, what do we got? You can play a rune challenge. What? What? I don't even... I don't know, dude. You're Brazilian. Oh, let's go. Yeah. Bet. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Oh my lord. Alright, guys. That was round 2. Thanks so freaking much for playing. Spoke, you get to play again, so just jump in on the next one once I leave the squad. For everyone else, if you want to play, go to my Epic profile, click the join button. Let's freaking do this. Last spin of the day. Oh my god, Ghost. Are you going to lose or are you going to win? Alright, Spoke's here. We need 2 more to play. Where's the killer? Killer's here. Let's go. Same outfit, by the way. Yes, yes I will. Alright, add Epic friends, view profile, invite to party. Alright, we have one more sport. We have one sport open. If you want to play, go to my Epic profile, click the stream button. Let's freaking do this while I watch freaking nice thing with aimbot on Fortnite apparently. It's not aimbot. What is it? Just pure skill then? Is that what it is? Oh my lord. So no shots. You're out of ammo. You're losing shield. 3 shots left. There's no way. There's no... He did it! He did it! Oh my lord. 5 people, dude. 5 people, no freaking... Almost no health. I mean, you had 30 something health, but no freaking ammo. That is just funny. Alright, apparently no one else wants to jump in, so let's freaking do this. Ghost, are you going to jump in from mobile or no? Because we do have spot. They're not. I bet. Let's do this. I need to stop saying bet. Alright guys, ready up. Let's go. We will do a 3-man squad. No, you're not. You just didn't potato on that one, Knife. Because every time that you play live with me, you potato so badly. It's not even funny. Alright, Spoke. You're not ready. Why are you not ready? Okay, never mind. Oh my god, Knife. Spoke is... Oh, okay. I thought we had the bug where it didn't let you ready up. Party might... Oh, I might, didn't I? Oh, there you go. I might do once we load into, like, the lobby thing. Dude, this game is pretty legit. Aside from the fact that I can still do my challenge with the zipline, because, once again, there's no freaking ziplines in here. But everything else is working out. 1 second, be right back. Alright, I'm back. Do you mean to send it? What? I'm actually confused. Alright, do you need to land anywhere? No? Eliminate opponents in different matches. Okay, one more. Polar and Lonely. Alright, I'm going Lonely. Oh wait. I'm the enemy. I can't open chest because my day was potato. What about your day? What else do we need to do? Land and Lonely. Oh god dang it, I'm going Lonely anyway. I didn't have to land anywhere. Games between ice. Okay, I could possibly do that as well. Oh wait, there's siblings in here. What the frick? Wait, guys, if you're stream sniping, can you go to a zipline so I can just kill you and finish that challenge? What do you mean? I'm requesting help from the extremely good people that want to kill me while stream sniping. Celery, thanks so freaking much for that follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Is there a chest? Dude, there's not even a chest in here. What the frick? It's not like I need it, but yeah. Oh wait, I still need to destroy rocks. Where are the rocks? Rocks. And they're like over here somewhere. Oh wait, they removed the rocks. Never mind. There you go. Why are you even saying knife? Just, yeah. This would be the woods, but the woods destroyed. You're solo squatting. Are you trying to stream sniping and you failed? Is that what you're telling me? Hi, Spoke. How do you got that thing already? Oh my god, Spoke. I have no friends, remember? I only have you, Knife. I only have you. Wait, what? Oh. Right now it's at 60, 61, something like that. I don't think I have it unlocked, so yeah. Alright, destroy box is complete. I still need kills on Dusty, so I'm just going to go Dusty now. I love this glider. This glider is legit. Spoke, do you have the black glider that I'm using? Jump if you do. He didn't. Oh, he jumped. I bet. I couldn't hear you because I'm using the explosion thingy. That's kind of loud. I can't even pick up that, or we can't even destroy it, Spoke. Alex, I don't know what you're saying. The game is a little too loud. Oh my god. Wait, you just changed your name? What? Oh, alright, at least. Wait, Knife, you jumped in. Well, I was playing Rainbow the other day, right? And who failed to carry me? I think it was. I don't know. I Spoke. Oh my. No! Spoke, do this. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my god. Dude! Amazing. Amazing, Spoke. That's why I like you, Spoke. We can just do memes now. We can just do memes. Ah, yeah, I remember. Oh, let's go! Alright, more memers. Let's go, dude. Come on, Spoke. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's commit to the meme. Let's see how many people we can get in here. Wait, is that the original Dusty? Dude, did you destroy the original Dusty? Did you? Probably not trolling that part, dude. Yes, yes, you did. Oh my lord. Now you send us flying! What do you mean? Oh my lord. I'm just going to do memes again. Oh wait, I need to kill. What do you mean? I need to start killing. More than doing memes, I need to kill people. Yeah? Should you watch anime? Is that what you said? I don't know. That's up to you. Why are you asking me? Why there's no one at Dusty? Spoke, let's clear out Dusty, dude. Let's get rid of all the trees, all the buildings. Let's make it freaking empty. Oh, we lost half of Dusty to the storm. Okay, knife? Say that again, because I legit couldn't hear you. You have Soaker still on your team. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They go try hard. If you lose, I'm pretty sure they're going to blame you. I think that was a stream sniper? I'm not entirely sure. Yo, if you're a stream sniper, can you go to like freaking, what's it called? Zip line so I can hit you there? Cause I legit need that. Oh my lord. Someone just froze me. Someone just froze me in time, dude. Well, I still can't get my kill set Dusty because no one must have Dusty, so there you go. Oh! What challenge? Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Oh, big oof. Are you serious, game? Did I destroy the stone? I think I did. Yes, yes I did. Oh, that's a big oof. Next time, don't do that. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see, if the other stone's still there? Wait, it is? Yes, yes it is. Come on, Spoke! We can do this! Maybe. What do you mean? Oh my god. Yeah, PS4. Dude, I can't go to game chat. Because then the stream will be able to hear me. It's one of the big limits I have without having a card. Remember, I'm not a pro streamer. So, yeah. Like, imagine this. I can't even afford a face cam. And you want me to afford a freaking capture card. Like, come on. What am I, freaking ninja or something? I want everything! Dang it! This is actually hard to do. You can beat the sucker skin. I slightly believe in you, Knife. Slightly. I mean, he's on your team, so you're gonna have to beat it, but just get more kills than him. Oh my god! It's impossible! It's impossible! Yes, that is the thing. The way that I stream doesn't allow me to do that. Like, all my audio needs to go through the party. No. I bet. Sucker skin, you should totally kill Knife right now. Like, TK him just because he's a tryhard. Sorry, Knife. I had to. What? How do you even got it? Dude, I don't know how I got it, but I got it. Let's go. Bet. I legit don't think they like me, dude. Alright, someone's very freaking annoying. That's a big oof. Okay, I still don't know how to use Sandus LL, so it's a big oof. Yeah, well, that. Bigger oof, dude. Bigger oof. Because memes. Alright, back to menu. I can't go back to menu. Never mind, let's just watch this play out, I guess. So Knife, are you so surprised that you get to play with a soccer skin? Why are you so surprised to play with a soccer skin? We lost. We actually lost this round. That's new. And of course, someone's doing the default dance. I can't get out! What do you mean? Okay. Ian, league match. There you go. Are you okay, Knife? You don't sound like you're okay. Big oof. Bypass tier up, let's go. Alright, so we still have one spot open, so if anyone wants to jump in, go to my Epic profile, click that join button, and let's freaking play so I can complete my challenges. Or you can stream sniping, help me with the freaking rebellion. Zipline challenge thingy. Dang it. I guess you just want to be a friend. Well, you need one balloon, alright. Oh my lord. I need to do the ice sculpture thingy. Alright. Well, a teammate, search list, follower, peak, and lonely, land hunter. Alright. Depending on what I'm going to do, I might land 100. Alright, let's do this. You just... Oh my god. Scroll, thank you so freaking much for the host. Oh my god. Why do you do this, Knife? Why do you do this? No. I want to switch back to Combat Pro. Oh my god. None taken, I guess. I need to... Wait, am I on the... Yes, enemy team. Alright, so that means I need to land hunted. Wrong side. Yeah, I need to land hunted, so I'm going hunted. No, yes. I know, that's the thing. But I just need to land hunted. Ow! That hurt. I'm gonna buy it every game I play. Ow! Okay, I have hiccups. That's not good. They hurt. No, you. Why are you with the PC Master Race thing now? Like, for real. We lost Spoke! God dang it! Spoke, what happened to you, dude? I kinda started to need normal spots as well. Alright, everyone's going to the thing while I'm just doing challenges over here. Maybe. I have to make sure I finish my challenges, remember? Like, all my challenges, because week 9 is like here, and I haven't even finished 7 or 8, so yeah. That really doesn't make sense. I'm going to try and get to Polar, but I don't think I can actually make it to Polar. At least not to the area that I need to go, which is like here somewhere. I was just like a rift to go right here. Or a rift at all. That would be very useful right now. What? Okay, Russ, I don't know what you said, dude. I don't know what you said, I'm sorry. Wait, what is that noise? Yeah, it's saying to do the reboot thingy, so now if you have to help me with that one. Yeah, and then I'll do the same blah. That'll work out. I think there's someone here. Yeah, there's someone here. Oh my god, you're not even playing on PC, what do you mean? No, you're not. Playing on console. Oh my lord. Well, you're just a tryhard by nature. You're just a tryhard by nature, so that doesn't say anything. Oh my lord. You and that one thing. Okay, Knife, can you even English today? Cause you're like all over the place. I mean, I don't know what's happening. All I know is that, like, I'm here, but I don't know why I'm here, so say whatever. I think I almost killed myself on that one. Wait, there's a stone run behind me? What? Yes. Yes. No, actually, no. I like the emotes. I like the emote. That's it. Don't! Don't! You took it. Ah! Bro. The one for the Black Widow. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. I'm just going to do memes now. Because I can't get that other challenge done. Oh my lord. The other students are tilted. I'm getting tilted. I don't know, Knife. Can you? Why are you asking me for things? I'm the butt here, remember? I think she potato. Oh my lord. Just no. Just no. Ow! I mean, maybe we could do duos. Actually, can you stream snipe me on solos so I can do that challenge with zipline? Yes. What? What? What do you mean I didn't answer? I'm confused. You're confusing me. I'm potato in that one. I don't know. No. Unless you do aimbot, then it is slightly good. Mm-hmm. I actually like the, I like this, you know what, it reminds me of the grenade launcher on Halo. So, yeah. Oh, like the plasma launcher on Halo. Oh wow, he actually got me. Big oof. Big oof, dude. Oh my god. Thank you, Knife. I mean, I can't even deny it completely, but yeah. I'll deny it a little bit. Can I land? I bet. I'm just running in circles right now. Okay, I hate the fact that I'm not entirely sure how to do the jump. The Thanos jump? Like, I hate the fact that you need to freaking charge it. That's annoying. You're back. Max, what happened to you? Oh, left? Bug left us out of nowhere. Alright, getting those stones is actually impossible. You want to go and eat. Ah, fair enough. Ew. Well, I remember my first win on Fortnite. I was a bush. We died. Dude, I hate those freaking Iron Man things. Like, they're freaking impossible to kill. Yeah, like legit, all apparently they have to do is just be gliding and that's it. This is impossible, dude. This is impossible. No. I do not. Too much. And this turn even kills it does too, it's the worst part. Literally. And how exactly are you going to finish the one for the... And they apparently had to reload? What do you mean? The game is glitching. And then my own team sends me flying. What the frick, man? Probably. I mean, do you want to be a good or a bad teammate? That's the real question. Oh my lord! I hate this thing. Okay, that Iron Man dude is just annoying. Yep. Streamer battle. Oh, had to be a streamer battle. No, just normal streamer battle. I'm going back to menu. Also, I'll bring it back. Alright, I'm back. So, like a hi waffle. What? Congratulations, I got week 9 rewards. Ah, fair enough. Thanks for playing endgame, bet. You won the game, nice. Hybrid stage 3. Oh, there's still a long way to go for me. You're in the lobby? Alright, Ocean. No, not right now. I'm gonna finish this one with the squad and then I'll do that. Let me check my dailies real quick. SMG elimination, I can't do that. Play stuff 15 solo? Alright, bet. I know, you told me that you won the game. I need to use balloon, that's normal squats. Search the polar. Dance between 3 ice sculptures. Okay, I know where that one is. It's not the polar area. Kinda sorta. Game turn? I can't go to game turn. Yes. Yes. But I can just invite you to the party. Alright, let's do this. Stream snipes, if you want to do that, stay at your service to an ease. We are doing endgame squads with no fail. Ready up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Yo, what up, Alexander? How you doing, bro? Welcome to the stream. I mean, I'll do the other challenges on the next one. I just want to finish this one since I can spawn again. I pretty much completed all of them except for that. It's pretty annoying, not gonna lie. Are you going to invite the soccer skin to the party again just because it's a soccer skin? Did you got rejected too many times by soccer skins? Big oof. Hi, Spoke. I need to go around here, I think. So I'm a volcano. And I'm the bad guy again? Dude, this game just wants me to be a bad guy. All the freaking time. This is annoying. I said I'm at volcano. You're tired, it's 12 and you go to school. Oh, big oof, dude. Big oof. Oh my god. You have issues. Oh, Jane Tim, thanks so freaking much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Okay. I was at volcano. That's where my freaking boss was coming from. Oh wait, I'm an Avenger this time. What do you mean? Oh, where are you to start the thing again? Polar. Ah, I bet. I'll go do this first. Get the chest at Polar, and then I'll do the rest. I thought it was the enemy. Oh, I'm blind, I guess. You should be a bush. Yeah, you should totally be a bush all the time. Alright, let's get some chests over here. I mean, I think you were like 3, but that's just me. There we go, that works. Alexander, thanks so freaking much for that. Oh, finally! Ironman stuff, now I can be a tryhard as well. Double Ironman, let's freaking go. By the way, there's Ironman stuff over here, if anyone wants it. Oh, hi Hydra. How's the Hydra life? Why is Hydra your rival again? Oh my lord. Finally, I got Captain's Shield. That's legit. I can actually move faster. Also, I got Thor Hammer. Let's go. Dude, I got all of them. I know. I actually like this one. Wait, there's Black Widow stuff in here? It must be, because I couldn't find any. Another one? I need 2 more chances and I'm done with this challenge, dude. This is actually pretty legit, not gonna lie. Wait, why are the buttons that you're gonna follow me? You just follow me. Why are you trying to click on Cinder? Well, I mean, hello? No, you. Alright, I agree with that. Actually, knowing how bad you are with memes, I actually did expect that one from you. Dude, I need like 1 or 2 more chances, come on. Just 1 or 2. Oh, there he is. Oh, I bet. Nope. Oh, are you serious? I need 1 more. That's not polar, but alright. Alright, there's usually chests over this area. Like at this house thingy. Oh, I'm going to die. Because your singing is worse than cursive singing. And that... Oh, there it is! No, 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 no! There he's like, no, that's not a chest, dang it! Yep, that happened. Big oof. Oh, I need 1 more chest of polar. Why are you pointing at maps? Dude, freaking aimbot is legit. Yo, what up, Max? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. No wonder why everyone gets to kill you with this thing, like, for real. Hey, player need totally, dude. Just go to my Epic and click that join button once I leave the squad, and you can totally play with me. Loves the oof, yes. Yes, yes, yes. The oof was real. Oh, hi, Spoke. Oh, I love this thing. I actually do enjoy the aimbotting here. It's pretty legit. Hydra, why are you not talking? Are you ignoring me again? Nah, I freaking Hydra's ignoring me again. Oh, now you're slightly talking, but your mic is potato. Yep, way better. Wow, what a friend. I'm just flossing the destroys the tree. What the frick, man? Hydra, quick reminder. If you want stuff from the item shop, totally use SupportACreator code Danny0117. Oh, wow. Why you do this, Hydra? I thought we were friends. Alright, completing the challenge. I don't care anymore. Completing my challenge. Oops in chat. Yeah. Lots of oops in chat. 15,000 V-Bucks with my credit card. Wow, that's a lot of points. Oh, that's a lot of V-Bucks. Oh, Hydra, I got $5 from Xbox today. They sent me like a message saying like, yo Danny, we just hooked you up with $5. I was like, bet. And I got the pineapple skin thingy. I'm done using that. Why are you bullying me? So many! Alexander, thank you so freaking much for the spikes. Really appreciate it. Oh wait, I'm done? I'm done. I was fully dead. Big oof. You're probably watching this movie now. Minecraft looks like a... Wait, it didn't update? It's still... Is it saying Fortnite? I mean Minecraft again? Oh, dude, you keep saying Minecraft. What do you mean? One sec. Let me fix that. It's supposed to say Fortnite. And you're, like, legit the first one to tell me that. Thank you. 1 sec. Dude, I only did click save. Why you didn't... Oh my lord. Fortnite. Bet. Save. There! It saved. It said it saved it. Please let me know if it updated. Dang. Because it was supposed to be updated since, like, I started streaming, but apparently it didn't, so... We won, dude. Actually, no, we lost. Big oof. Big oof. Big oof, dude. Let's go back to menu. So, I completed, almost all my stuff, so, yeah. Invite to party, but... Wait, did I invite you? I think I forgot. I'm sorry, killer. Alright, I think I cleared most of my challenges, and the only ones left will be the ones from normal squads. Yeah, more than likely. Let me check real quick. I'm good now? Bet. Thank you so freaking much for that, imagine, because I did click on save, but apparently it didn't, so that's a big oof. Alright, challenges. In-game, collect Phoenix Stones. That's a freaking buffalo for me, because freaking tryhards with Iron Man suits. Alright. Dailies need to play a solo on that. Let's see. One more chested polar. Then by teammate. Then sub 3. You should be able to join. I think. Unless it's like a full squad. Big oof. 1 second, guys. Let me invite you right now. Wait, what do you mean terminal service? I'm not selling anything. What do you mean? I'm not selling the credit card. I'm asking you if you could do that. Like, if you could just go to the item shop, press X and type Danny0117, and then press X again, and then just buy whatever. Oh my lord. 15,000 freaking V-Bucks he has spent here. That's legit. It didn't work? Seriously? It's a big oof. Alright, this will be the last one with this squad. And it will be on normal squads, so we can do Team Rumble. Now let's do normal squads. Wait, Hydra, did you get the widow emote thingy? Pretty cool. Alright. On that note, stream snipers, if you want to do that, send your service to an east. We are doing squads with no fail. And if you want to help me with the challenges, please write a zip line and let me know that you're in a zip line. Just saying. Alright, ready up in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, of course. Fuck is doing that. What? Do you have what? Yeah. Wait, the move? What move? No. I got the one that's red and it's like the Black Widow move thingy. Whatever it's called. Yeah. I also don't know how to read that. It's like pie or something or fry something. I don't know. It's strange. I already have it. I hope you know that. No. Just no. I don't know what else is on the store, so yeah. Just no. What are we doing? Oh yeah, I need to land over here, so... 1 second, guys. Go, 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 go. Alright. Where's this freaking sculpture thingy that I keep forgetting? I think it's like over here, right? I just need to dance in here. And there's chests in here, but... Did that count as spoiler? That didn't count as spoiler. God dang it. Alright, completed the challenge. Start dancing if you need a challenge. I got a thing, so I'm going for the thing. Oh, the thing's all the way there. God dang it. That's a long run. There's a chest over here. I'm going to hate you. Why? By the way, did you look into ARK? I might have to go on ARK as well. Are all the dinosaurs okay and stuff? Wait, what is that? Was that a chest? Dude, that's a chest. Why is there a chest like in the middle of nowhere? Literally, middle of nowhere. Which one? Oh, I already have it. Someone gifted to me, I think. Did someone just attack me? I'm actually pretty confused. Why you bully me? Why you bully me again? Oh, you're not potato that. Wait, killer, are you trying to steal my stuff now or something? Are you serious? How? Okay. There has to be a zipline here somewhere, right? There's no way to do it like that, dude. There's no zipline anymore. What do you mean? Okay, I'm going to need a ton of mats for this. This is legit not worth the effort. Better be freaking Scar and Pump. Oh, we could do that, but no, we are not doing that yet. Because there's like freaking, what's it called? There's like a rift, a permanent rift over there, so yeah. Don't do it, Spoke. What did I do? I know. Sorry, Christian Mark. Spoke. I mean, just no. Ow. Speaking of my thing, where is it? Are you freaking serious? Oh my lord. Oh. Alright, this is how. Are you serious right now? I just say that this legit was not worth it? There. I'm bringing a Scar and a gold pump for anyone. So, yeah. You should probably use the thing now. Like, your... Yeah. We lost one! Spoke? Can you... Ocean... Why you do this? Dude, I'm so tempted to use my gun and just get you guys to fall. Oh wow! Spoke is like, yep, I'm out. Well, I'll give you guys the guns over there, so just go to circle, because if not, it's going to kill us. I'll get to the rift over here. I love this thing. So much bits and cats. Seriously, Hydra? Seriously? You know, you're just like on your way to bully me every single time that we play. Not very nice. Oh my lord. Well, I'm doing stuff. Alex the Gamer, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Why can oh. You know what's the best thing about my marshmallow oven? Kind of blinks a little. Guys, send help. You can stream snipe me. Oh my lord. That's also true. But they actually do see the freaking thing going off with like people talking, so yeah. I'm not that crazy, guys. Yet. Guys, send help! Nothing to see but a marshmallow just standing still. Please be blind, please be blind, please be blind, please be blind. Dude, they're blind. Spoke, don't attack, don't attack. They're blind. Don't come to me! Great. Okay, attack! Ah, there goes me. Folks dead. Everyone's dead. All my loot is gone. And you're just dancing. Did you seriously just give up? Yeah, you gave up. 9, 8, 3, 2. Perfect timing, dude. Perfect timing. Oh my lord. That was funny. Oh my god. Well, I'm actually leaving the squad now. Because it's done. That was 2 rounds. Where's Knife? Knife abandoned me. Knife was supposed to help me. Let me just spam him now. Yeah? What up? So did I with the stream. And then I broke Minecraft. Like, go to my YouTube and look at the of the last stream, and you will see what happened, because, yeah, I went a little crazy. I went a little crazy, so, yeah. Alright, Knife is offline. Alright guys, that was round 2. Thanks so freaking much for playing. Oh my god, Killer. That's legit. Thanks so freaking much. We lost Killer. Yes, we lost Killer. Thanks so freaking much for playing, guys. If you want to play a game, please wait one more freaking round, and then you can play again. Alright, let's do this. Alright, for everyone else, if you want to play, go to my profile, click the join button, and let's freaking do this. And hi, Hydro. We got a fake default over here. It's truly just a fake default. Oh yeah, Killer, you died. Alright, You get to play one more. That's it. Alright. We need one more player, so if anyone else wants to play, let's freaking do that. Got the banana. Now you can actually do this. Oh wait, you can do this one. One sec. Have you unlocked this one? Where is it? It's wait, where is it? I'm like, where is it? Yeah, that one. I don't remember the name of that one. Dude, we're a freaking squad of freaking bananas. That's legit. Now seriously, where's that one? Oh, there we go. We can do that one, Hydra. Oh my lord. Alright, everyone ready up. Stream snipes if you want to do that. Actually, Spoke, if you can please stream snipe me, like, for real, and go to a zip line. Now I'll just do damage. Alright, Hydra ready up. Stream snipes, set your service to an ease. We are doing squats with no fill. Ready up in 3. What? Potato. Ready up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Alright, so if you're stream sniping, please. You know what? Where's the bed? I think there's like freaking. Wait, where's zip lines? Zip lines. Where are they? I'm not sure. I think there's some zip lines by Volcano or by Sunny. I should probably go there and like do that. I also need to check on the challenge because I forgot to check it. So, big oof. Lonely or Polar dance between 3 dinos. That's paradise. No, we're doing normal. Dance between 3 dinos, revive players, deal damage to opposing players. Where? Who are riding a zipline. I bet. I need to kill someone with a balloon. Like, I need to be using a balloon. Alright, let's go Sunny. Or like, near Sunny. What challenge? You're in? Alright, Spoke. Please, please, let me hit you with a zipline. I think there's ziplines at Sunny, so, yeah. I mean, we can do the conga line forever, but at the same time, I kind of want to like get that challenge over with. Okay, this will kill you if I hit you, so I will not be using that. Alright, this I can control it. Alright, let's see. Spoke. Where are zip lines? I don't see any zip lines. Oh, there they are. Alright. So, Spoke, if you're over here, like, go to this thing. There's a freaking zipline right there. I should be able to hit you. Because it said do damage. Like, I don't have to kill you. So, yeah. I'm like right here now. It's also by a volcano vent, so that's pretty legit. If I have balloons, I will also ask you to do that. Hi, Ocean. Let's go. Alright, guys, don't kill Spoke. Whatever you do, don't kill Spoke. Right. No! Don't eat the banana! We are bananas, we're not supposed to eat our kind. That's wrong. Don't destroy the bananas. You know what? I'm doing it. I can't. The game's not letting me. Big oof. They caught me? Alright, bet. Guys, please don't kill Spoke. Wait, Spoke, what skin are you? So we don't end up killing you. No, that's for a banana thing that he wants to eat. Yeah, banana skin. Alright, guys, don't kill a banana skin. Oh my god, Hydra, he's helping with a challenge. Don't do this. Don't do this. but Hydra is a bully now. He's no longer a nice person. He's making you want to eat the banana, dude. Oh, Spoke is here. Hi, Spoke. Alright, Spoke, just ride the thing. I'll do damage to you. Don't. Oh! Sorry! Apparently someone else hit you because I only hit you twice. Well, thank you, Spoke. I'm sad because Spoke died. But apparently someone else hit you and I just hit... Dude, okay, Spoke, I only hit you once. I legit only hit you once. So someone else killed you. And I think that was Ocean. Ocean, did you kill Spoke? Oh. There, I made you go boom. Didn't do anything, but I still made him go boom. I'm sorry, Spoke. After the challenge, I wanted to freaking do a conga line with Stream Sniper, so that was the thing. Then he wasn't. Yeah, Spoke's watching me right now. Keep those. Keep those. Thank you. Oh my lord. Alright. Let's find people that I can hit while I'm wearing a balloon. Dude, that's why you got the AR, so I wouldn't freaking hit you too much. I'm sorry, Spoke. There's a freaking supply drop here. I didn't! Someone else apparently shot him. I just only hit for 30 and then that killed him. So... yes I did. I don't know why. It's okay. Spoke. Alright, let's get the supply drop real quick. Alright, while I wait, the Inspire, because why not? BCC trolling, thank you so freaking much for the follow. Hello? Really appreciate it. There's nothing good in here. Wait, can I have that? Nah, we can keep that. Yeah, can I have that? No. Why don't you use the med kit? Totally fine. Oh, dude, enemy! Wait, Stream Sniper? Wait, chill. Stream Sniper? Are you a Stream Sniper? Dance if you're a Stream Sniper! You're not dancing! Oh wait, I completed my challenge, let's go. I think it's Stream Sniper, I'm not sure. Is he dancing? He's not running. He just... yeah, he left. I don't think he was a Stream Sniper, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not even sure anymore. But he was slightly friendly. I was a rude one. Oh well. And then Ocean just wasting the mech away. Rick? Hello? Hydra behind you! Behind you! He didn't fall for it. Well, I completed 2 challenges, so that's pretty legit. Now I just need to get the battle star for the week 7, I think. Now that the challenge is complete. Yeah, I can just keep doing boots and gets like this. This is why you never win games, guys. This is why you never win games. We lost one! Wait, Ocean, how do you die? Okay. Well, I'm just doing memes right now, so... Save Ocean. Oh wait, I need to revive you. No, not revive like that. Like, I need to use your reviving card thingy. I mean... I have balloons. Yes, I have balloons. Not 2 balloons, besides my challenge with ballooners is over, so... I don't really care about balloons at the moment. I care more about just doing memes at the moment. And just like that, we have to go to Dusty. I know, we're in normal squads. Oh, big oof, big oof, big oof. I don't want to land! I landed. Big oof, dude. So much oof, yes. So much oof. Are they? I don't even know where they are, Hydro. Like, I'm looking around, I don't see anyone. Nope. I just flew right past all of that, didn't see anyone move. Either that, I'm just blind. I'm probably blind. I'm going to Dusty because... I don't know why I'm going to Dusty. Me? What about you? Ah, that's no one. Oh yeah, totally. Oh yeah, totally I'm a pro. Yeah, bro, totally. I work out as well, like, for real. Oh, wow. Oh my god, Spoke. The worst part is that kind of looks like Waffle, just more fluffy and, like, fatter. Hi, Hydra. Let's go for the memes! Uh-oh. Why did you build? Why are you keep building? I'm trapped! I'm a trapped banana. I'm a free banana! Dog love a car. Actually, Waffle does love to go on a car ride. However, he hates when people get close. Like, if they get close to the car, even if it's just to say hi, Waffle will try to kill them. Like, he will turn from this adorable little lab onto a freaking wolf. Like, literally. It's even hard for me to control. But still adorable, though. Oh, wow. You guys just started the meme and I'm just doing all the memes. Hi, Hydro. I'm just doing it over here. Like, I don't care. I'm doing it around the air conditioner unit. I'm just conquering around that. Actually, I have an idea. Everyone, go to the freaking symbol thing, billboard, whatever this is called. And we just do conga around that thing. Like the sign at the very front. Just come here and let's do conga over here. Do I drive a car? No. I'm in the passenger seat. Would you really? Okay. Spoke, you have seen my driving in GTA. Would you really trust me with a real car? Like, come on. Nope. I don't even have a permit. Alright. Let's do this. We're going to conga around this post because memes. Let's see how many people join. Yo, what up, Insta? How you doing? Welcome back, bro. How's life? This is why I never freaking win, dude. This is why we never win games. Oh my lord, it's not a race, Hydro! Oh my god. Dude, we need way more people over here. Oh my lord, no! It's not a race, Hydro! Oh my god, Spoke. I actually wonder what people in the game will be like or will say if they just see us doing this. I'm wasting time here. Douglas music, fair enough. Insta, thanks so freaking much for the follow, even though you followed me before, I guess you unfollowed me. Alright, to circle. Let's go. Don't break the line. Don't break the freaking line. We can complete the circle. I mean, the meme to get the circle. Yes, my banana is also rotting. New account? Oh, fair enough. Jacob, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Where I'm legit just doing memes. Let's go. You lost your earlier account? Oh, that's a big oof. Wait, Insta, are you going to start streaming here as well? Alright, keep going. Do it for the meme. Do it for the meme. Oh, dude, there's another banana over there. Ow! Another banana just killed me, dude. Another banana just killed me. They're no memers, that's for sure. Bumpy, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream where I got killed by another banana. How dare they killed their freaking own kind, dude. It's like us eating a banana to get mats or health. Like, that's not right. What are you doing? What are you doing? We're dead. We're dead. Those are bad bananas. Those are terrible bananas, dude. Look at that. It's another squad of pure bananas. But those bananas are freaking tryhard. Like, for real. Like, oh my lord. Did you? Oh yeah, he's... Oh, never mind. What's the request? Dang it. You were on my YouTube and you started watching on YouTube. Then why you didn't say something on YouTube instead? Like, for real. Alright. You did? I don't see it. Maybe the thing's not loading? Okay, one sec. Let me just reload that real quick. So maybe I'm losing all the chats over there. And, yeah. Alright, if you can say something on the freaking, thing so I can see if it's working. Also, guys, if you're on Twitch and I miss your messages, it's because this thing didn't load, so... Yeah, I'm a big potato. Alright, I'm tier 81, let's go. Hybrid, it's now in pink. No, thank you. Just no. Alright, Pepper is here. What up, Pepper? Hi. Dude, do you have the banana outfit? You should get the banana outfit. So we can just be a banana team and squad and whatever. Alright, let's freaking do this. Alright, so streams night, save your service journeys. We are doing squats with 𝑪𝑶𝑫𝑬. Ready up in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, forgot about endgame. I'm sorry, Hydro. Wait, I can cancel it right now, but then Stream Snipers already did that. We'll do endgame on the next one. You made a new epic. Why do you make an... Oh, just to be TTV? Just so you can be a streamer, by the way, Insta? Why you do this? Why you do this, Insta? This is why we don't have nice things. Alright, so Waffle is right next to me. Oh, hi, Pepper. So, right now, Waffle is right next to me. And he's just looking at me like, Danny, give me attention. I start scratching the nose. So I freaking do that all the time. And apparently I find a tickle spot because I'm scratching like the nose area. And the leg is going off like crazy. It's so adorable. You're adorable. Challenges! I need to dance between 3 dinos. That means I'm going paradise. We are actually going Mexico-ish, kinda. Maybe. Let's go. Fake Achiever, thanks so freaking much for the follow. Wait, Platino? Wait, what? What is that, Spoke? I don't know, that's what Spoke said in chat. I don't know how to read that. I'm a potato, remember? Chewy Sue, thanks so freaking much for the follow over at streamer. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Thanks so freaking much for the follow. Really appreciate it, bro. Welcome to the stream. How's life at Streamcraft? Alright, let's not where I need to land. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm legit streaming to everywhere right now. Like, I have Streamlab, I have Mixer, I have Streamcraft, I have DLive. What do you mean leaving you? I'm going. I need to go to the dino. No! I'm going to the freaking dino thing. Remember challenge? Oh my lord, we lost one! Ocean's dead. Oh wait! Ocean, I need to get your card to revive you, but first I need to do this challenge. I'm a real person. You're really trying to get to 200 followers on Instagram. On Instagram? Why Instagram? But, yeah, I bet. I'll try to follow you back. Alright, ready? Let's go! Alright, you get him back and just dance. Let's go. Alright, let's go and get his card before he goes full potato. I don't have a gun though, so it's probably going to hurt. Yes, I know. We're bright yellow in the desert. We do memes. Okay, that probably won't work. I honestly don't know. I'm already here, dude. And between the two of us, I'm the sneaky one. Never mind, you can go, because I just potato. I'm like, you can go. It means banana sky? Oh, fair enough. I wonder how, like, you said banana and, like, Brazil or stuff like that. Like, I kind of want to learn that. Just for, like, basic stuff. Like, if I ever get lost there, I'll be like, okay, at least I have banana to eat. I don't know. That's Spanish. Well, Brazil doesn't use Spanish. Yay! Where's the reboot band? The reboot band is the Paradise, Fatal, and Lucky. I might just go Lucky instead. Oh wait, but Storm. I might just get you a Fatal then. Let's go Fatal, boys. I have no guns. No gun challenge for me because I have no guns right now, and then I've been too lazy to loot. That's pretty much why I don't have anything. Oh look! Alright, just because it's no gun challenge doesn't mean I can't have ammo. But if they actually, like, attack me, I'll just throw the ammo at them. And I'll kill them with the throw of ammo. That doesn't make any sense at all, but it'll happen. It'll happen, dude. What? Oh, never mind. I got a gun. Bad. Wait, what? What? Who's back in Mexico again? Wait, Pepper, why are you all the way at... He's not in Mexico, he's at freaking Junk. Well, the new Junk. Yo, what up, PJ? How you doing, bro? Welcome to stream. No. This is Mexico. This is the new, area. Like, this is Mexico.